No! No! No!
Welcome back, Ocean. Welcome. Welcome. My carbon, my boom. We got that whole pop thing. It's that place. Give it to me, sugar. Give me the mindful. Give me that car. Little mindful. Give me that. HVE. Baby, yeah. Ah. Welcome, everyone, to the Horror Pop Extravaganza. I had no idea what spirit just took me over, but I'm back. I am Pops Ghostly. That felt good. I don't know what it was, but it felt good.
You got a little James Brown in you.
Dude, I love me some Otis Redding, some James Brown, some Chuck Berry, those dudes that were the fucking Little Richard and shit, the performer types. Can't forget Morris Day and the motherfucking time too. I was just watching Jay and Silent Bob reboot Strike Back the other night, and I forgot the whole ending credits dance sequence with them. And you can see how happy they are to be up there with them, like, just look. Anyway, so maybe that's why it was fresh. If you are new to the show, it changes every week. The way it starts. I'll do some different shit, and then he'll say some stupid name. I should not say stupid. They're very well thought out pieces of literature in some ways. I hope one day your kids, that's what they find. Like some people have journals of poetry and like hard times in life. You're just going to have a bunch of fucking wiener euphemisms written on like a composition notebook full of different dick names. Um, this is the Horror Pop Extravaganza. I am Pops Ghostly, and with me today is
Goldie Showers.
Goldie Showers. That one's always grossed me out. Calm down, R. Kelly.
Surprisingly, though, one of the few things that your friends will admit to, like freaky, that like most of my friends have done in some way or another.
Oh, yeah. It seems
Yeah,
like I don't know why. All right, I'm gonna tell a crazy story real quick.
awesome.
It kind of goes in line with some of this stuff. I was probably like 15 or so, and I'm not going to mention this person's name, but I have a mentor at my time in this life. Super cool human being. This isn't going anywhere weird. I promise you that. Well, it might go a little bit weird. Um, and he told me when I was very young, he's like, listen. And I mean, he looked me in the fucking eyes like a grown man, and he's like, you're going to want to try butt stuff. He's like, you're going to want to put it in a girl's butt. He's like, it's going to seem like a great idea. He's like, but just forewarning, it might not always be the best idea. That was some good advice. And I don't know if people want to try, peeing on each other, Goldie Showers. Thank you for bringing all of that out.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing.
You know what, though? I feel like that's a great way to start this episode because today we are celebrating essentially what a lot of people have called the godfather of exploitation, Jack Hill, man. He did shit like this, what we're going to talk about. He did Switchblade Sisters, Foxy Brown, Pit Stop, which also has the amazing Sid Haig, a young Sid Haig in there. But Jack Hill really brought some shit to the forefront that we would later call exploitation. For him, it was just, pushing boundaries and directions that really hadn't been done yet. But it was like, oh shit, like this is over the fucking top. You know what I mean? Like this is wild. I can't recall when I first came across 1967's cinematic masterpiece, Spider Baby or the Maddest Story Ever Told. But I know as soon as I watched it, I fell in love. And it's probably, it wasn't a while back. I know I didn't see it as a kid or a teenager in my youth, anything like that. This was more recent within the last 10 years. And it's public domain. So it's on Tubi, YouTube. It's, you can find it anywhere. And I think you can buy it. There is a restored version that I don't remember what restoration organization put it together, but I know they took the negatives, reran them, created a new print of master or from the masters, then created another second set that they cleaned up and stuff. But so it became a cult classic. When it came out, when it was released, it was just another of kind of like take your girl to the movie to see I was a teenage zombie and shit like that. We're going to the drive-in and we're going to hang out and we're going to do this cool stuff. So it kind of the grindhouse of the 70s, we were right on the precipice of that, of really the exploitation boom, where you would have, every kind of exploitation you can imagine. That shit was out there and they would run it. I can't remember the name of the street in New York, but all the little grindhouse theaters on 42nd or 44th or something like that. They would run all these flicks. And so stuff like this really didn't get noticed. And it's not like in 68, 69, you were going to pick up home media. It didn't exist. You didn't, maybe if you had a ton of money and I don't even know how they did it back then, or you helped make the movie and you were like, hey, give me a fucking cut and I can watch it at home because you didn't go buy a VHS. There was no way to play home media. They just sent you shit over the airways at that time, or you went to the movie theater and stuff like this might have been double billed with something like Switchblade Sisters or a Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. Spider Baby to me is there's a couple like heavy hitters. You go back to the old Dark House, James Whale, and Spider Baby is probably the next one on the list for me that is like these are the foundational crazy distorted family movies. This is the Texas Chainsaw Massacres. In a lot of ways, I was rewatching this just now and I'm like, holy shit, dude. Like, this is House of a Thousand Corpses. There's fucking people, crazy people under the stairs. You got one guy who can kind of communicate with the outside world in Captain Spaulding. Whereas the other ones, they're just fucking wild and off the chain and they're all at home, just like getting rapey and murdery and pretending to be bugs and eating fucking the neighbor's cat and shit. Uh, but I probably every 6 months, it might have been a year since I've seen it recently. But it's one that I've gone back and revisited because I'm just like, man, that was so good. And we'll talk about all of that. But why don't you cue us up now that we're done talking about peeing on stuff, other people? We're done talking about butt things.
I
Even
don't
though
know how you brought butt stuff into peeing on people, but and
because
then wrap that around.
I feel like that's the same kind of advice you would give someone. Like you might think you want to get peed on, but then after
Right.
you peed all over, you might be like, that wasn't my jam.
I don't know. Like whose jam is that? Like,
So another really fun, quick story, okay? I promise this will be quick. I got to take you back circa 1998, 9, 2000, somewhere in there, right at the turn of the century. We're down in Detroit at this awesome fucking little venue called Harpo's. Been going there since I was 15-ish, I think, 14 and a half, 15, the first time I went there. And we're down there seeing, I can't even remember the band. I can't remember any of it. Maybe Hate Breed or Hate Work, one of them. But we end up, I've got this little Chevy Cavalier, a 96 Chevy Cavalier, right? Little two-door joint. And so after the show, these fucking dudes in one of the bands are like, let's go to our house, fuck party. We're like, yeah, let's fucking go. I fill my car full of people. There's a dude in the trunk that we had to keep yelling, like, can you still breathe? And he'd be like, dink, dink, I'm good. Like, we threw him back there with a couple beers and we're like, let's go. And I'm in pot. I remember that motherfucker bouncing a couple times and hitting. But we're going to this after party. We end up at this house party, and there's fucking death metal playing all over the place, and there's people everywhere, and it's chaotic, and it's all this shit. And me and it was two of my homies, I believe there were three of us there at the same time, are in this room where there is German scat pornography being played on the television. And it was, this is 99, so it was probably a CRT tube or something. But this one girl takes, a shower head that has the hose on it, like a snake, and puts it right in my other girl's butt and just leaves it there for a minute. And then removes the hose, and it's just like, back funneling all the water out of her butt like a fountain. And she's like, no, 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 no. And we were like, dude, that's a shower enema. And we named a band after that and played one show as shower enema after the. So, yeah, there are people out there who are into that shit. Who knows? But let's talk about Spider Baby.
great, great Great segue,
Yeah,
Bob.
let's talk because it was, man. It was but I mean I still am talking about it all these years later. Like that was a vivid memory. Like, what the fuck am I watching? You know, it like came out of nowhere. And then we just went back to partying and hanging out. Don't know how I got the hour and a half home, but we made it. I'm still here. Cheers. So Spider Baby, lay it on me there, Goldie Showers.
You're waking up with a shower head in your asshole, and you're like, "Last night got wild." Whoa.
Right.
Hey, bro, remember the party last night? Yeah, I came home with some leftovers. Can you come over real quick? Bring some piping tools.
Right. A whole bunch of lubricant. I was talking Diddy level lubricants. Need all the lubes. I got a shower head in my butt.
It's one of those, you know, those big ones that's supposed to feel like rain.
That'd be a beast. My sister, for a long time, served as an ER nurse, and she would tell me all the shit that people would come in, dude, stuck in their butts. I'm sure you saw it. You worked in a
Oh
fucking
yeah, dude.
hospital setting. What was the
Yeah,
weirdest
you
thing you
think
ever
you think
like?
your X-rays are safe?
Give it to me. Give it to me. What's the weirdest shit you ever saw while you were doing the hospital thing?
The weirdest shit I ever saw was one of those fucking soup cans that was like shaped where you could actually like cook the soup in the can. You just put the whole thing in the microwave, and it was kind of
Yes,
shaped.
it had like an hourglass shape
It had
almost.
an hourglass shape exactly. And so a truck driver fucking came in, and he had fucking had the soup. He got it halfway up there, but then it sucked all the way up there. And he
Oh,
couldn't get it out. He had it in there for 5 fucking days. And in a last ditch attempt to get it out, he could get a hold of the little pop top thing
yeah.
and he tried to pull it out by that. It came off, all the soup poured out, and then the can crushed. It imploded in his asshole. Yeah,
Oh no, that is insane.
dude. He did a lot of damage to his rectum hole.
I mean, I guess if all that pressure all of a sudden was let go, if you pull the top off, it's gonna give way, and your sphincter is stronger than a Campbell's can. Like if it's stuck up your ass,
Especially when it's 5 days fucking swollen.
dude. How? So he couldn't shit. So he's probably compacted.
Oh, he's all fucked up. They had to go in and remove some of his intestines.
I believe it because it was probably infected and like all
Backed up
kinds
and
of
infected. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So they had to like cut it apart, and there's a lot of stuff like that. I mean, we had a girl who stuck a shot glass up there and it smashed inside of her. Pool
That's like a
cue,
hostile movie, dude.
totally, dude. Pool cues, pretty much anything that's shaped like that. We had a guy had a carrot up his ass. He said he sat on it. We're like, cool. How did you sit on it? And
That's
it
like
was wrapped in
running, fly,
cellophane.
and jump at Frosty, dude. Now he's like,
Why
I'm
you
getting like a
fucking
big.
don't wrap your vegetables in cellophane on the couch and then walk around naked. You just don't do it. It's
No.
dangerous.
She told me, and then we're gonna move on, people. I promise. My sister told me one guy that came in so high on meth that he ate his own dick off, and threw it like he cut his dick off and ate it, and then he threw it up on the charge nurse. It was like, and there came his pecker right back up, fucking dude. I'm like, and and I have all the love in the world for all my people who can do this, my nurse people, my doctor people. But sometimes the joy in their eyes when they're talking about it, I'm
Yeah,
like, they get
absolutely.
excited about that crazy shit. They get all worked up about it.
Yeah, yeah. She for 100% sure came home, was in the middle of dinner, and they were like, "Honey, how was your day today?" And she's like, "A meth head threw his cock up on me."
Right, a hundred
Like, do you
percent.
want to hear about it, or like, is that too much?
Right. You
And
want some of these
your
potatoes?
fucking burrito falls back out of your mouth. You're like,
Right.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Can you flip the kids' chicken tenders over? that that guy's pee pee was everywhere. A little mushroom tip over there, some fucking ball sack over there.
Uh,
Right. Okay, Spider Baby from
Spider Baby.
1967. Who made it? Who's in it? And what does IMDb think it is about?
This movie's so hardcore they couldn't even rate it. It's not rated. 1 hour and 21 minutes. Made, written, and directed by Jack Hill.
Yeah.
This movie stars Lon Chaney Jr.
And one of his later performances that I really like because there is a scene in this movie where I'm like, damn, dude, you just showed up with your chops. Even if it was only for those, 3 to 4 minutes, he shows right the fuck up and delivers some good shit. But we'll get there. Always good to see an icon. And they even give him the little Easter egg in there where she's like, you like the one with the werewolf? And he's like, it's a full moon tonight.
Carol Omart plays Emily. Quinn Reddecker plays Peter.
I like Peter. You could just take that sound clip right there.
I
I
like
like
Peter.
Peter. Cut that shit to a beat. I like Peter.
Beverly Washburn as Elizabeth. Bill Banner as Virginia. Bill Banner. Jill Banner as
Yeah, I was
Virginia.
gonna say Jill.
And the one and only Sid Haig as Romp.
Yeah.
Now, I had seen this movie. This is one of the few things that my ex-wife brought into my life that was worth a damn. One of them was that she showed me Spider Baby, and the other one is that she introduced me to the Bloodhound Gang.
Those
But
are two really good gifts to leave you with, though.
those are two
Yeah.
beautiful gifts that she left me with. And I went to a Comic-Con for the first time. It was back when they were Wizard World. It wasn't even Comic.
Oh, nice. Was it now? That's up in like Seattle, that neck of the woods, right?
No, that was in Los Angeles. That was back. I lived in Phoenix.
Oh,
I
okay,
spent a lot of
gotcha.
time in LA because my whole family lived there.
Or
And
maybe it traveled. Maybe they did do different cities like Wizard World, LA, Wizard World. So
yeah,
I don't know.
they
Either way, go ahead.
affiliate always.
Yeah.
Um, in Chicago, Wizard World Chicago was always a big one. But anyway, this was like before Comic Con was really big. It was the first one I'd ever gone to, and there was just a table of people sitting next to each other.
Right.
And I walked up to the first one, and the first one was Ken Foray from
Uh,
Dawn of the Dead, who I talked about.
I
And I'm
love
talking to
Ken so
him, and he's
much,
like,
dude. I
he
love
goes, "You want me to sign that poster?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, sign that poster." So I signed it, and he's like, "All right, that'll be $20." And I was like, "Oh, fuck. This is like 1996, dude, and I work at a
it.
grocery store, so fucking
Right.
$20, that's blood money, bro."
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So then I see fucking right next to him. I get done talking to him. I give him the $20 just because, like, you're like, what do? You know, you don't want to be like,
Right.
you ain't
And
worth 20 bucks.
listen, though, that's the crazy thing because one of the most recent ones I went to with Kevin Smith. For the autograph or whatever, it was like 160, got you the picture and like one autograph, but you could pay $100 for each additional autograph. And there were these cats, dude. I'm talking with a fucking golf cart full of posters. And he's like, I'm having Kevin sign 11 of them, 12 of them, just collecting to resell and stuff. And I'm like, that's kind of a bummer. I wish we would get back to like, let's just meet these cats and be like, yo, you're fucking cool. I like you. But yeah, it's for $20, like there ain't no way you'll get any autograph anymore. I feel like for $20. Maybe the
Right.
security guard at a convention be like, bruh, want to sign my thing? Be like 20. Fuck.
Right.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. No, this was the Wild West where you literally walked up to them. They didn't have handlers. It was just
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
across from the table, and they had some pictures and some fucking posters and shit. Anyway, he's sitting there. I finished talking to him. I go over to Lou Ferrigno, talking to Lou. Fucking Lou takes a picture. Thanks for taking a picture with me. $20.
Yeah, that was a pretty.
I'm like,
I've been recently rewatching King of Queens, and that was a pretty good fucking Ferrigno, dude. Because he always shows up, as the neighbor and shit. How you doing, Lou? Oh, hey, Gary.
so now I'm down $40 and two people at the table. I'm
Right,
like, all right, I gotta play it cool, dude. I fucking back away from the table this time.
right.
And I'm just like going down the list. Fucking David Carradine sitting there with his Kill Bill stuff. I'm like, oh fuck. I don't want to pay $20 though.
And now you're
Fucking,
looking back like, dude,
oh
20.
yeah, dude. 20
Right.
bucks, and I would have fucking flourished at that table. Right next to him is fucking Atreyu from the Neverending Story. Right next to him is Michael J. White from Spawn.
Dude, that's a good line. And the fact that you said, no banners, no handlers, no,
Oh,
just
just
everybody.
them at a long ass table, dude, with like a couple of their shit behind them. Not even posters with their picture on it. Just
Right.
like
That's what I'm saying.
posters
Yeah.
of
Just,
shit that they did, you know?
right. Yeah.
And then pictures on the fucking table. Right next to fucking Michael J. White is who was Tony Todd.
Oh,
And I
sick.
talked to Tony Todd, and Tony Todd is like, oh, I was talking to him about the Crow, of course. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
Crow, blah blah blah. He's like, if you like the Crow, you should go talk to this guy, James O'Barr, sitting right next to him, drawing a fucking picture of the Crow, and I'm just like, skeet, skeet, skeet,
Sick.
all over the table. But I fucking had this. So I gave James O'Barr $20, and he gives me a fucking little signed notebook. And that was the thing too, is that like Lou Ferrigno signed a fucking Hulk poster for
Right.
$20. So like
Right.
I got a Hulk poster that was worth more than $20 plus the signature.
Right. Right. And
No, James O'Barr gives me a little fucking book of like crow drawings that he had just done. There's like
why?
five assistants.
Dude, that's insane. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, and he fucking
How
signs
did
it.
that tie into this movie, though?
Here it comes. This is how it
Yeah.
ties into the
Yeah.
movie. So I'm looking around. I'm like, fuck, I'm broke now. I can't afford to talk to anybody else. And then I fucking see this man right here.
The one and only Mr. Sid Haig.
I see Sid sitting all by himself over in the corner, dude. And he's got, of course, all the Captain Spaulding shit around him.
Right.
But I was like, dude, I'm gonna go up and talk to him about Spider Baby.
Yeah.
I fucking rolled up, dude, and I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, he's starting to tell me about House of a Thousand Corpses, like he's trying to sell it to me. I'm like, "Bro, I drove from Flagstaff to Phoenix to see House of a Thousand Corpses opening night because it was not playing in my town. So I
Right.
drove 3 hours to go see it." And I was like, and I just fucking watched Spider Baby, and he was like, "Oh shit!" He pulls out his personal photo book, dude, and he's showing me behind the scenes pictures from fucking Spider Baby and all of these like
It's
exploitation movies.
top. Yeah. All the shit that he
He's
was.
with everybody. He's with Burt Reynolds. He's with fucking
Yeah.
like all the dudes back then. Robert Goulet. Why is he hanging out with Robert Goulet?
Because he's Sid Haig, dude. You deserve to hang out with everybody.
But he was just the coolest fucking dude. He didn't charge me $20. He told me everything that was going on with House of Thousand Corpses 2, which was turned into
Devil's Rejects.
The Devil's Rejects. Yeah. And he was just the coolest fucking dude. And he just wanted to talk about movies.
That's awesome, dude. Sid Haig, we love you.
A
We
master.
love you. That is a
Beautiful
really
actor
good
and a beautiful
lineup that
person.
you had, dude, though. That's a solid table of people.
And I have a picture that has them all sitting there. Like I got way back and took the picture because I was just like, look at this shit.
I turned Spawn on the other day.
Why?
Because there's that nostalgia part of me that remembers going to the movie theater to see it and being all excited. You know, the kid who sat down and used to try so hard to draw that mask and shit out of the comics to get it just right. And so yeah, there's still a special spot. But after I watched it, I was like, yo, I want to watch the animated series though, because the animated series is yeah, it's good.
That's hot fire. You want to
Okay.
hear what IMDb has to say about this movie?
Yes,
A caretaker devotes himself to three demented siblings after their father's death.
that's it.
And yeah,
It does this thing no justice, dude.
no.
Who is writing this? We need to start a petition like every day. We just send a mass email to IMDb, like get everybody on it and be like, just email them once a day. Here, I'll pre-write it for you. All you gotta do is paste it and send. Like, do better descriptions. Do better descriptions. We'll go pick it outside fucking IMDb's head office. 'Cause that's not very good. But either way. So Spider Baby, we open up on Peter reading, kind of telling us about the Mary syndrome. And now you said so your first wife is the one who introduced this
Yeah.
to you? Okay. And
And
so
I wouldn't watch a black and white movie, dude. I wouldn't
you're
back
crazy.
in the day. I know now, like I'm more of a
Sure,
cinema
sure.
fan. But back then I was like, that shit's old. I don't want to watch that.
Right.
He was like, just give it a chance. You're gonna like it. And I
Yeah.
fucking watched it. And I was begrudging, dude, the whole time. Like I was like, fuck, this movie is so slow and boring. You can hear the sound popping in the background. I hate it.
I love it. I
I
like it.
love it now, dude.
Yeah, I know. Now you're like, oh, that's a beautiful thing what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But we open up on Peter Mary, or I don't think his last name is Mary, because he was a distant cousin removed on the family tree. He was pretty far over. Reading and telling us about Mary syndrome because he's got a book that's like rare and peculiar diseases.
Yeah, dude.
He had to like, I don't know if he wrote it or he fucking just gave this little part about Mary syndrome. And then he tells us it's this thing due to inbreeding where there's a degeneration. You hit a certain age and you start to regress both mentally, not so much physically. So I guess it just is mentally, but you kind of become more feral at the same time. You're becoming more animalistic and moving backwards. And it's happened with all these people due to inbreeding for so many years. We get the mailman cruising up on this dope little sidecar looking like me, me. And he pulls up like, hey, you seen the Mary house? And they're like, no, go inside, children, get out. And everybody's terrified of this Mary house. And he's like, oh, well, takes off down the road, finds the mailbox, Mary, whatever. Goes up, starts poking around, knocks on the window, and he's like, oh, fuck. Anybody home? Like, hello? And I will say Jack Hill is great about just putting some weird shit right in your face, like from the onset. And this whole opening is just if you were to take this content, I think, and give it to someone today, It would be extremely horrifying. You know, the setting would probably be at night. It would probably be something else. But the idea of a window, he goes to poke his head in a window, like you probably shouldn't. You just don't go poking your head in other people's fucking windows, like halfway through to your belly button, not just your head, like, yeah, half a body through. And the window up top slams down on his back and he's pinned in there. And then we get our first look at Virginia with this almost cargo netting and she's walking towards him like, ha ha, spider, you know, I caught a big juicy bug or some shit. And she throws it at him. She's got two knives. We see all this. We do see an ear, like an ear falls right flat on the ground, which for the time, I'm like, damn, that's kind of impressive because we were moving away. This was a really interesting time for horror cinema, period. You know, we were getting into that, like we talked about last week, the, you know, revenge, hyper gore, could be your neighbor type of a storytelling, as opposed to the really black and white that was the whole 40s era, which Lon Chaney is in a lot of ways, or Lon Chaney Jr. is leaving behind here. You know, he does pay his little homage to that era, but we're transitioning into something else. So shit like Peeping Tom and Psycho, you know, had already come out, and now we're getting more psychological. And even in this, the 50s and 60s, everybody was diagnosing the shit out of everybody. Like psychology is this brand new, big, you know, beautiful thing. And so we're dealing with a really kind of again a fucked up version of the nuclear family, but she slices him all up, pulls the body in, and that's when we get Elizabeth. And Elizabeth, whereas Virginia is very dark haired and almost looks like a spider, like this girl, you know, well, I guess she's crawling around on the ground like one. Whereas Elizabeth is very prim, her hair's up like nice, it's very well done, but she's always like, "I hate you." And these actors really played this childlike nature well, you know. But it's for anyone who has kids or been around kids for an extended period of time, it's like having a 5-year-old, but with the capacity to really do damage if they want to.
So scary.
Terrifying.
My kids scare the shit out of me, dude. And I thank God every day they're little.
That's why they're little to start out because they'd kill us all.
Yeah, dude.
Trying to do it from the onset. But Virginia says, "Oh, Bruno's going to be mad at you." And they are trying to hide the body when Bruno gets back from the hospital. Bruno, played by Lon Chaney Jr., who has been their caretaker since the passing of their father. And he was the chauffeur, butler, Alfred type character. I don't know, a Pennyworth of some sort. But he made the commitment to the dad, like, I'll never let the kids, you know, be taken away and shit like that. I'll look over them, make sure they're really taken care of. He pulls up and starts yelling at Virginia, and he's just, "What did I tell you about playing Spider?" And Elizabeth's over there like, "Nah, nah, 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 nah," you know, like she's really happy about it. And meanwhile, Ralph's just on the floorboards in the back of the car, and this is where he goes to get him out, and we just see Sid Haig spill out of the back of this car. Plays the character really, really well. So he chastises her for playing Spider, tells her, you know, we can never play Spider again while they're sitting on the porch. And meanwhile, Ralph finds the piece of mail that was from the mailman or coming to them, gives it to Bruno, and Bruno opens it up and says, "Oh shit, it's your long distant lost cousins who are coming here today with a lawyer. These people want the money, primarily just the one woman, the sister. She's like, yo, there's this huge inheritance. We're the only living heirs. You know, if we take custody of these kids, then we get all this other shit." Or they want to get the kids sent to an institution and then just take all of the other shit. So, and he's like, "Oh, they're coming tomorrow, or today's the 14th. Oh no, we got to get this cleaned up." We see the dumbwaiter that plays a big role through the whole movie, and the secret compartment behind the dumbwaiter. I love this whole house. All these set pieces are really cool. The basement with its stone archways and dripping water. The interiors, you know, super tight corridors with long stairwells that go way upstairs. And Bruno's like, "All right, we got to hide this body. You guys can't do this shit. We'll kind of figure it out as it comes. I have to go pick them. He's got to go pick up the lawyer because the sister and brother are on their way. We are introduced to them, and I like she's driving and is just all over the road. I mean, like almost hitting fences. And he's like, "Whoa, lady." And she's like, "Well, we got to get there, blah, blah, blah." She's very matter of fact and very serious about all this because she wants the big payday. She wants all the dough. So they're on their way to the house saying the lawyer's going to meet them up there. Bruno goes to pick up the lawyer. The lawyer gets stopped and he brings his assistant. I want to say her name might have been Anne, who Miss Milton, maybe. But that becomes the counterweight for Peter's character because he can't have a love interest with his sister. And at this time and age, like everything had a love interest, man. I mean, life has a love interest in so many ways. So I guess it's makes sense that it would show up in our movies. The lawyer looks like a little Hitler with a fucking stupid little mustache right here, and he's chewing on this nasty cigar all the time. And he's like, I want the even bigger payday. But they have to stop for the blasting. We have to know there's dynamite around. And he's like, oh, they're just blasting up there. You do get a good comedy bit in there where he's like, hey, you, roll down the window. And he's pointing at him and he's like, no, it's back there. And he's like, gotcha, gotcha. And they do it back and forth a couple times. This is a good bit. They get back to the house. He introduces the children to them. We've got, and I believe they mention Uncle Ned and Aunt whoever who are down in the basement, like Henrietta in the cabin. They're just in a hole, dude. And again, very reminded me of House of a Thousand Corpses. Like you went way down deep, and then you got to Dr. Satan, Satan. It had these components.
But it was also like talking about like mental health at the time, dude. And it was like not cool to have somebody who was like not all there or whatever in your family. Like it was a disgrace. And so they would bury these people, not necessarily in their basement, but like in some fucked up institution.
Metaphorically, yeah, and they even say, "Oh, they'll go to and he's like, "Oh, how could these kids be any good? They ain't got no schooling." And Lon Chaney's trying to explain. He's like, "Look, they got this syndrome. Like, they can't do any of that. It's not going to work that way. I made this commitment." They're like, "Oh, well, we'll be the decision makers on who should take care of the kids." And meanwhile, they decide they're going to stay for dinner, and we cut to Ralph's outside chasing the neighbor's cat, and the girls are getting. Virginia's got a bowl full of bugs at one point, and then they have a salad, but it's just thistles.
Well,
And this is that nightmare shit. I'm like, if you really take away the fact that this was made that many years ago, and you can kind of see through some of the set and stuff like that, the idea of that, of like showing up to someone's house and they put thistles down on your plate and they're like salad. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You're like, this is normal human food, right?
Right, right. FOOD. So, but even before we get to dinner, Peter decides he's going to take Anne into town because they're like, we have to stay the night. We have to, we're going to be here. And Cheney the whole time is like, yo, no. Bruno's like, no, you can't we can't do that. We don't have the facilities. This place is old. If you walk around, you fall through an old floorboard, this, that, or the other. And they keep insisting upon it. And so there's not enough space. So Peter's going to take Anne into town to try and get her a hotel room. And they take off only for a short time before they end up returning for dinner because I think there is no place to stay. There is no hotel rooms open or something like that. So they end up back and everybody has this nice, or maybe dinner was right before they go to check on the hotel. Either way, dinner's gnarly. The cat's all fried up, fucking like gross everywhere. Ralph is just reaching his hand into all the food, like the salad, and just jamming it all in his face. And Peter's trying to be real civil about it. He's like, "Oh, this is great. Yeah, it looks good, right?" And he's like, "Oh, no, 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 no. We can't we're all vegetarians. We don't eat meat because if we eat meat, it'll speed up the Mary syndrome or whatever it is, the regression." And right as he says it, Ralph grabs the whole like cooked up cat and just starts fucking biting chunks of meat off. They're like, he's like, what about Ralph? He's like, oh, if he catches it, he can eat it. Anything Ralph catches, he can eat. I'm like, damn, man. So they go through this whole nightmare and they do see Virginia eating full spiders and bugs. She's just straight eating bugs and all these things. And Schlocker, who is the lawyer character, I don't know how he gets separated. Oh no, because Emily, I think, was the sister of Peter who goes up and she's dancing around in her lingerie when fucking Ralph comes creeping over and my buddy came in here. I'm sitting here watching it earlier and he comes in and it's that scene right there. And I was talking to him. I was like, yeah, dude, it's fucking scary to see someone peeking through your window. But when that bitch is upside down, that's a whole nother level of scary. It's like, how are you up there? How are you just suspended so nicely outside my window? So she went up there, though, to go start doing whatever she's going to do. Schlocker's looking around the house and actually sees Ralph at one point almost go in the secret door, and Ralph looks at him like, "Eh," like, it's great. Uh, but Schlocker eventually gets killed by Victoria. They end up down in the basement. And he almost gets pulled into the hole with the aunt and the uncle. And then the girls are like, well, we had to do it. He'll tell, he'll do this. And that's when Bruno comes in and he's like, well, we're kind of fucked now. Like we could have hid one body, but he even tells the girls, like, there's going to be more schlockers coming. There's going to be more people. And this is that performance by Lon Chaney Jr. that I think just shines, man. This might be some of the best couple of minutes of shit he ever did because it's the tears in his eyes, the welling, his age. He's got these two. It just felt so incredibly real to see him pull this thing off. And he tells him, like, I got an idea. And you see this smile on his face. And he's like, I'm going to go get something real quick. Don't worry. It won't take long. He takes off. He's going to get dynamite. He's going back to the blast site. And meanwhile, Peter and Miss Milton or Anne, whichever one it was, they pull back up and kind of get into the house and they're like, whoa, what the fuck's going on? Ralph had already chased what's her name outside and raped her in the woods, which is really intense, dude.
Or yeah, during
This
this time period, man. Like I
ever.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean it's always uncomfortable when you mix sex with violence and everything. But yeah, this is very uncomfortable, and I would assume very provocative at the time.
Exploitative. That was the thing is it was like, yo, we're gonna do this. Now they're not showing when we say a rape sequence, it's like shaking bushes and things like that, but even the implication
Right.
at this time,
Not a
we're
tree
only
branch.
we're only, not even 10 years removed from seeing the first flushing toilet.
Right.
Yeah. And so there was
Or just the blood going down the drain in Psycho was like,
yeah,
whoa.
same movie, dude. The toilet was Psycho.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, it was the first flushing toilet. I think it's when either he or she like burns something up and puts it in the toilet and flushes it down. Now, Ralph, this is where we see like if he catches it, he can have it. Ralph's childlike mentality. And there's this scene where Victoria is going after Schlocker, and we see Emily and Ralph go by in the dumbwaiter, and she's just like, he's like, and it's really fucking uncomfortable, man. So Schlocker gets, I can't remember how he sees the ear. I know he sees the ear and he puts it away. And then shortly thereafter, Victoria kills him and they're trying to get rid of the body down in the basement. And that's when Peter and Anne show back up and Victoria starts playing Spider with Peter and she's wrapping him up. And he's been cool the whole time. He's just like, yay, let me eat your cat. This is delicious. This hole's my favorite. He's just done nothing but support these kids. And she's wrapping them all up, and then she's like, "Oh, the spider like drains the fucking bug and then stings it with its stinger." In the meanwhile, down in the basement, Ralph's got what's her face, but then she goes full on rabid and goes and attacks Ralph again. This is kind of that revenge stuff that the sexual trauma revenge that we would see in stuff like Last House on the Left and all of those that would follow throughout the decade of the 70s. She goes full feral and fucking rips Ralph all up. The girls are like, eh. One girl, after she fucks Ralph face up, Emily gets sucked down in with the family, and that's a really uncomfortable scene too, because it's a bird's eye view of her through this little opening in the floor, and there's just bodies coming in from every angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're just what the fuck are they doing down there? Was
That's
he?
what's great is that your brain fills it in, and no matter
Right.
what they would have showed you, it's not as bad as what your brain's gonna plug into that.
Right, right. And so they've got now she's gone. Peter is tied up, but Bruno is back at this point because he starts talking to the girls. I want to say they're in the basement, and that's where he brings the dynamite down. Yeah, it is in the basement. While Peter's upstairs, he knocked over the cabinet and all the spiders, the tarantulas, her spiders are crawling after him. That's what it was. And he flips over, somehow gets himself out and goes downstairs and still to the end. Lon Chaney's like, you better get out of here. He's trying to like put the dynamite out real quick for him so that it doesn't, he saw this as the only way out that everybody could stay together. And it was the only way that everything could go down the way it went down. And he could feel okay about the promise he made to their father. Like, I will take care of them till the end. I won't let them get separated. I'll do whatever I got to do. Peter gets free. Where's Ann at? And he grabs her and they go running outside, throws her over the shoulder, fireman carry. We get a humongous explosion, whole house blows up. We don't see it, we hear it. I don't know, maybe there was a little shot of something in there, but I don't remember seeing, this was 1967 making an exploitation movie. You're not blowing up a whole house.
Right.
It just wasn't in the cards. For most movies in 67, it wasn't in the cards to blow up an entire house. That shit didn't start happening until like fucking Die Hard makes, however many hundreds of millions of dollars, and people are like, blow them all up. Blow up an
Yeah.
airport, blow up Harlem, dude. Blow it all up. Blow it all up. Then they were like, this angel child came down. They were like, I'm Michael Bay. And he was like, I'm gonna blow everything up. So we do get a cool little epilogue here, though. After the explosion, we go back to Peter reading the book, and he's like, "So that's the story of Mary syndrome and how it came, it went. Me being the last, Mary inherited a very substantial, what turned out to be a very substantial fortune." And fortunately, those genes died off, and I was too far removed on the family tree to worry about it. And then we cut to his kid walking in the backyard, and she looks like a little village of the damned. And we see her kind of give this half crooked, like gnarly smile, and then the camera turns, and there's a spider right there. So, Spider Baby, or the maddest story ever told. And then it turns, and we get a question mark. The end? I don't know. And it's pretty lean too. I think it's like an hour and 20 minutes. It's not a huge.
That even.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not super long, but it's okay. So let's just go into the ratings and we can each talk about it because this was kind of forced on you in a time in your life where having a woman in bed trumped your fear of anything scary. And so you were like, I will subject myself to your scary things. All right. So out of how many beautiful, amazing, bald, regressing Sid Haigs do you give Jack Hill's Spider Baby from 1967?
I mean, damn, dude. If I'm looking at it the first time I saw it, it kind of changed my opinion of old movies. So it was pretty big in my
Ooh.
in my film. I don't even know what to call it, but like as I was coming up in film and I was
Yeah.
taking small little chances on
Yeah.
things that maybe not like didn't appeal to me. Like it didn't have tons of explosions in it. And I was like,
Right,
it
right.
can't have anything. And I was like, wait a minute. Got some freaks in the cellar. I kind of like that. Like,
Yeah.
no, I think it turned my whole view around on that. So I'm gonna give it a 4.
Right.
This is a solid movie, and this I think what changed for me too is that I thought that no horror movie from before like 1970 was going to be able to be scary or creepy because the subject matter was too controlled, you know.
Right.
Everything was too tame. But that's bullshit. There's a lot of fucked up shit in these old movies, and they're not tame.
You had the whole era, before the code where people were like, "Yo, let's do some crazy shit." Even in the old Dark House, like I love that movie. I feel like it's so important. But you're right, like some things can still be get under your skin, kind of scary, even if they were done. And this was intended to be in a lot of ways a comedy. The same
Right.
way I feel like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was. But this one just, it wasn't about bringing kids in to watch the movie and enjoy it. It was about just put their butts in the seats so they got a place to make out away from their parents for a while because everybody had to go to the drive-in. It was dark. You could sit in your fucking car. You didn't have to worry. I mean, it sounds perfect. Why
The
not?
scarier the movie, the more the girl is going to be in your lap.
Right. I'm going 4.25 on this guy because for me, as mentioned, Jack Hill is one of the godfathers of the stuff that I like. I like genre movies. I like exploitation movies. And he showed that you could do it in a good way. He really brought even the car. I feel like the car sequence in this was some cool camera work for the time that he had brought over. Maybe it might even been some used footage from Pit Stop. He might have been like, hey, we got some extra race car footage. But the performances are sweet. The fucking story is great. The sets, the location, all of it just, and it's got this weird, funky beatnik score behind it most of the time, like a do do do, like a stand-up bass kind of playing here and there. But product of its time. So yeah, 4.25 all the way for Spider Baby. And as we had mentioned earlier, you can find it anywhere. I watched it on Tubi earlier, but I think it's public domain. So you can find it, you can watch it. It's super cool. Definitely check out Spider.
Watch the cleaned up version on YouTube, the whole thing.
Nice, nice. Which is I'm glad they're doing shit like that. Like, hey, check it out, man. Like there's good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the mindfulness part of today, the mindfulness part. Today started, I had to go run an errand this morning. And a lot of times when I'm in the car, what I like to do is throw on my Discovery station on Apple Music so I can, hear something new maybe. And I found a lot of good things that I like, but it just wasn't hitting today. And I'm like, all right, I'm going back to old reliable. I got a playlist that I love. Shit's super long, like 30 hours long or something. And this song comes on, and I'm like, I've been talking about this song recently. I was just talking to my brother about it. I stopped by his house on my way to see my mom not too long ago. I was like, fuck, this song came on. And it just came on again. So I am going to go to the poet, the genius, Kenny Rogers. Kenny Rogers.
And gotta know when to hold them, gotta know when to fold them.
So I'm gonna give you a little bit. You ready? This is
All
the
right.
part that always gets me. And if I start singing a little bit, that's just a problem because I love this song. Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is knowing what to throw away, knowing what to keep. Because every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser. And the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. You got to know, yeah, dude. But that song,
I didn't even know you were gonna sing that one, dude. And I took the piss out of it. I'm sorry.
no, no, no. I'm happy you did because you knew immediately what I was talking about. And it doesn't matter. There's no piss to be taken out of it. But every time I hear that song and I picture this man on this train, and he gives this dude and he takes it from him. He takes his last shit. He's like, for a little bit of whiskey, I'll fucking give you some advice. And he's like, took my bottle, took down my last swallow, bummed a cigarette, then asked me for a light, and the best thing you can hope for is to die in your sleep. But more than anything, it's the idea that every hand is a winner or a loser. You can lose with four aces. You know what I mean? Like you can't, it's possible. You can lose when you think you have everything stacked in your favor. Or you can have some shit cards and you can be like, I'm gonna play them the best that I can. I'm gonna try and figure it out. And he even says, I made my living off of reading people's faces, and knowing how things are gonna move. So it was even bigger than the game. He's saying you gotta look bigger than the game. You gotta look outside of just this simple game we're playing. And it's a bigger thing, it's life. And you gotta be able to observe these people and how they do their thing. But he's still on a train bumming a shot of whiskey, and fucking smoking a cigarette. But he got exactly what he wanted. He broke even. He's like, yo, if you break like the best, break even. That's what you could do. And he ended up breaking even and he passes it on to this dude. And he says, that's how you got to kind of run shit. But you have to run it. I think the guy on the train with him probably could have had a better life. I think he was speaking from a place of I played some bad hands too, man. Like I got caught up in the game. I got caught up in the game of it here and there and got thrown out on my ass because he's, riding around on a train begging for whiskey. He's not fucking in the fucking sleeping car, he's doing all right for what he wants to do. But I love that notion of you can play the hand that whatever the hand is. For me, it was like I've looked at a lot of my hands and kind of where I've been playing them and where I continue to play now. I think more now than ever, I understand the importance of understanding the hand that you have. Not like the hand I want to have. What hand do I have where I can start from and then start playing some cards, try and draw some things out, do what I can do. And that hand might be a bummer, but you got to play the long game too. You get another hand of cards, but at least you played the ones you got. Because if not, you'll just sit there all day until you die
Yup.
and not do shit with it.
Yeah, dude, I just fucking folded my hand and said, I'm gonna wait for another hand. And maybe it'll be better, maybe it'll be worse, but I'm
Right.
gambling, baby.
Right. I'm gambling. You're right, though. And I think you played your hand well because if you would have held on to that hand, that was a losing hand.
It was a losing hand, no matter
No,
how I tried to
no
figure it
matter
out.
how you tried to play it, it was like it's better to fold, let the pot eat my money, and I'll get it back. I'll try next time around because some hands are really rough. But yeah, that song is just so fucking good, man.
Hot fire, dude.
There's certain songs, if I want to get myself hyped up, right? The Gambler is one of them, which is weird to think I want to get myself hyped up. Um, Believe by Cher. Do you believe in life after love?
I would not have guessed that for you, but all right.
I can feel something inside. I love it, dude. I love it. Warriors of the World by Man of War, which is super fucking metal. And I Would Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That by Meatloaf. Always gets me just when I hear
Always wondered what that was.
it's so good. Yeah, just in case anybody wondered, songs I need to get hyped up on. Telling you, my wife will tell you a share. She'll see me like fucking 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I need some. What am I supposed to do? Something else for you, but I can't win it. It's just always there for me. Shares there, and I appreciate that.
Oh man, I'll sit there with some diarrhea, dude, and be like, if I could turn back time.
Or if I could find a way, and just booty burning. I'll tell you the secret. Here's a life hack, everyone. If you ever got the burning booty, what you do is you keep a pitcher in your bathroom of some ice water when you're about to take a fire shit, and you put it on the back of the toilet, and then you just lean forward a little bit when it's real hot and dump it down between your spine. Kind of pull your shoulder blades together, like, and it'll roll straight down your spine into your ass crack and cool it right off.
That's some good old timey shit. I actually have a bidet, so I shoot cold water into my asshole directly.
See, and dude, my brother bought me one. I was so excited. And whoever hooked up the ass backwards plumbing in my master bathroom, I can now hook it up in there. And I'm like, I'm so sad because I want a nice water butt shower.
Dude, I know a lot of people who are like, it was a game changer. I'll
I
tell
know,
you,
dude. I'm
it
telling
changed
you,
the
I
game, but
want
I'm not
one.
sure I liked it.
I want one. I want one to try it because the squatty potty changed my game. That thing changed my life, dude.
Yeah.
Squatty potty is where, yeah, if you ain't got a squatty potty, you are missing out on some of the best poops you didn't know you could have. Yeah,
Wow,
fantastic. They sell them everywhere. You get probably for like $20.
you could probably just put a bench under your toilet, like a little.
You could, or I used to have a friend from Vietnam that would just squat right on top of the whole seat and fucking.
There you go, dude.
Yeah, he fucking killed it. All right, horror pop extravaganza. I've been Pops Ghostly.
And I'm Goldie Showers. Gross.
No! No! No!
Extravaganza.